What's good, y'all? This is Evan from DMV Sports Zone giving you another update on all things DMV sports.
Sports Zone.
Chased down by Beal in the corner for three, gets fouled and hits.
Welcome to DC.
Well, they tied him out.
You know where you're at, the USA Cap. You're taking it slightly, I'm taking it slightly. Now how you gon' act on you gon' be right back. Well, we gon' be right here, we gon' be right here. We ain't going nowhere. Welcome to DC. DC, the home of Chuck Brown. Oh, you don't know the sound? Well, let me break it down.
As always, we start with the Washington football team. Now, for Washington, a lot of stuff happened this week, and in typical Washington fashion, most of it wasn't good. The end result, a 31-13 loss against the defending AFC champion Chiefs. In this game, the defensive line played pretty well, but Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. The loss drops Washington to 2-4 on the season. They've now lost 2 in a row. They're still second place in the NFC East thanks to a tiebreak over Philadelphia, but now they're 3 games behind Dallas. Doesn't get too much easier for Washington this coming week as they head to Green Bay to face the Packers. The Packers come in at 5-1, first place in the NFC North, and Green Bay is coming off a 24-14 win in Chicago. They've won 5 in a row. And now we have our first Washington Wizards segment of the season. So for the Wizards, last season ended with them finishing 8th place in the Eastern Conference, qualifying for the play-in tournament where they lost to Boston and then beat Indiana to clinch their first playoff spot since 2018. But that didn't last long as they got taken out by Philadelphia in 5 games in the first round. So this season, the Wizards are looking for back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time since going 2 years in a row in 2017 and 2018. And for Washington, that journey starts on Wednesday when they head to Toronto to face the Raptors. Last season, the Raptors were 27-45, 12th place in the Eastern Conference, and they missed the playoffs. This is the first of 4 between the Wizards and the Raptors. Toronto won 2 out of 3 against Washington last season, but this game will be the first game back in Toronto since the start of the pandemic. And honestly, if I'm being real, y'all, I'm getting ominous vibes that the Wizards are going to be on the short end of one of those "that's why we love sports" moments. I'm going to just be real with y'all. On Friday, the Wizards come home for their home opener against the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers last season went 34-38, 9th place in the Eastern Conference, qualifying them for the play-in tournament, where they beat Charlotte and then ultimately lost to Washington. This is the first of 4 between the Wizards and the Pacers. Washington won all 4 meetings a season ago against Indiana, including both the play-in tournament and the game where Russell Westbrook tied Oscar Robertson for the triple-doubles record. And now let's talk about the Washington Capitals. So for the Capitals on Saturday, it was a hard-fought battle, but ultimately they came up just short, falling 2-1 in overtime against the defending Stanley Cup champion Lightning. The loss drops the Caps to 1-0-1 on the season, which is good for 3 points, and a tie with the Rangers for 4th in the Metropolitan Division, although they have opened the season on a 2-game point streak. Now, the week ahead for Washington, first up, they close out a 3-game homestand on Tuesday when they take on the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs come in at 1-1 on the season. That's good for 2 points and a tie with St. Louis and Dallas for 2nd in the Central Division behind only Minnesota. Colorado's coming off a 5-3 loss against the Blues on Saturday. This is the first of 2 between the Caps and the Avs. Washington and Colorado split a pair in 2019-20, 1-1 with the road team winning both. On Thursday, the Capitals head to New Jersey to take on the Devils. The Devils are currently 1-0 on the season. That's good for 2 points and 6th place in the Metropolitan Division. New Jersey's coming off a 4-3 overtime win against the Blackhawks on Friday. This is the first of 4 between the Caps and the Devils. Washington won all 8 meetings against New Jersey last season. And finally, on Saturday, the Capitals return home to host the Calgary Flames. The Flames are currently 0-1 on the season. That's good for 0 points and last place in the Pacific Division. Calgary's coming off a 5-2 loss in Edmonton on Saturday. This is the first of 2 between the Caps and the Flames. They did not meet a season ago, but in 2019-20, the last time they did meet, Washington won both games against Calgary. Up next, let's talk about the Maryland Terrapins. You didn't hear a lot about Maryland this past week. That's because the Terps had a bye. So Maryland still retains the 4-2 record they have, 1-2 in the Big Ten. That's good for 5th in the Eastern Division. Up next for the Terps, they head to Minneapolis to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Minnesota comes in at 4-2, 2-1 in the Big Ten. That's good for 2nd place in the West. And the Golden Gophers are coming off a 30-23 win over Nebraska. Up next, let's talk about the Navy midshipmen. So for Navy, it was a short week, but it wasn't a good one. They fell 35-17 at Memphis despite winning the time of possession battle by almost 18 minutes. The loss drops Navy to 1-5 on the season, 1-3 in the American Athletic Conference, and 9th place in the conference standings. It's a tough week for the Mids coming up as they welcome in the second-ranked Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati comes in at 6-0, 2-0 in the American Athletic Conference, which is good for second in the conference standings behind only Houston. Cincinnati's coming off a resounding 56-21 win last week against UCF. Up next, let's talk about the Virginia Cavaliers. So for Virginia, it was homecoming week and it was a pretty good one as they shut out Duke 48-0. The win improves the Cavaliers to 5-2 on the season, 3-2 in the ACC, second place in the Coastal Division behind only Pitt, and now they've won 3 in a row. Plus, Virginia is only 1 win away from becoming bowl eligible. The Wahoos will take their first shot at that win this week when they welcome in the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Georgia Tech comes in at 3-3, 2-2 in the ACC, which is good for 4th place in the Coastal Division, and the Yellow Jackets are coming off a bye, so this will be a well-rested Georgia Tech team pulling into Charlottesville. And last but not least, let's talk about the Virginia Tech Hokies. So for Virginia Tech, it was a pivotal game this past weekend in Blacksburg, but they couldn't get it done. Virginia Tech fell 28-7 against Pitt, totaling just 224 yards of total offense. The loss drops the Hokies to 3-3 on the season, 1-1 in the ACC, 5th place in the Coastal Division, and now they've lost 2 in a row. Up next for the Hokies, they return home to host the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse comes in at 3-4, 0-3 in the ACC. They are last place in the Atlantic Division, and the Orange are coming off a 17-14 loss against Clemson. That's it for this update, but we got plenty of good content coming all week long on DMV Sports Zone. We got fantasy football, we got Wizards coverage, we got Caps, we got the Washington Football live stream with Nadi, and we got a lot of good stuff for y'all this week, so stay tuned. You know